Okay, continuing our series on the Native Americans. This next unit, our objective is to examine the culture of the tribes of the Eastern Woodlands of the United States and Canada. We're looking at New York, upstate New York, and Ontario, Canada, this section of the United States. Okay, peoples of the Eastern Woodlands. Okay, the people of the Eastern Woodlands hunted animals such as deer and moose. Okay, they also planted crops such as corn, squash, and pumpkins. A lot of these crops were only native to North America, and when the new settlers from Europe came over, they found these crops and brought them back to Europe. We'll talk about that when we talk about when the Europeans explored the New World, but the diet of Europe changes dramatically with the discovery of the New World. Okay, the League of the Iroquois. Okay, the Iroquois live in present-day New York State. This is upstate New York, so you take a look. This would be Buffalo, New York, Niagara Falls over here, New York City right here, Syracuse, Albany, upstate New York. All right, housing. They lived in long houses, which were 100 feet long, 20 feet wide, and made of poles sided with bark. So kind of like long dormitories. Okay, many families lived in single long house. So your whole family would live in this long house. Okay, while each family stayed in their own room, they shared a fireplace in the hallway. This would be a village. Kind of similar to European forts that were created later with a watchtower and a wall around them. Okay, women. All right, the Iroquois were matriarchal. Okay, we learned about that. Society that is run by women. Okay, women owned all the property in the longhouse. Okay, they were also in charge of farming. Okay, Iroquois men moved into the wife's home or became part of the wife's family. Okay, we are givers of life. We own the land, the mother. We are honored in the ceremony 4 times a year with the changing of the seasons. The ceremony lasts 6 days, and there are songs and dances specially dedicated to the mothers. Because a mother is a mother to everybody, we say Ithinoya. Okay, it means our mothers, an honorable word. Iroquois women chose sachems or tribal chiefs. Okay, so this Native American woman says, when the clan mother is nominating a chief, she has to talk with him about the responsibility. We say, you can't think about just your family or your household anymore. You have to think about the whole clan as your family. When the chief's decision is made, it's just a given that the clan mothers have their input. Okay, formation of the League. All right, the League of the Iroquois was originally made up of 5 nations. Later it would grow. All right, this League of Iroquois had really the first actual constitution in the New World prior to any European people coming over. And it still exists today. We'll talk about that here. These 5 nations fought frequently, so they decided, hey, if we are going to continue to fight, we need to form an alliance to protect our people. So this inspired religious leaders to organize 5 nations into an alliance known as the League of the Iroquois. This alliance is a union between nations for the assistance and protection. And as you see Europeans coming over, it was detrimental for the Native Americans to actually stop fighting each other and come together because you had a new threat of Europeans taking land and moving westward. This would be Iroquois and Buffalo, New York, 1914. Iroquois government. Okay, a council of 50 members chosen by women make decisions for the League. Each nation has 1 vote. All the nations have to agree before any action can be taken. So this would be the Six Nation Confederacy Council at Grand River, 1898. This will be created before our houses of government here with our U.S. government. Okay, the Iroquois Constitution, called the Great Law of Peace, guaranteed freedom of religion and expression, as well as other rights later included in the U.S. Constitution. And here's Ben Franklin during the Constitutional Convention in 1787, we'll cover later in this class. But Ben Franklin says, "We have gone back to ancient history for models of government and explained different forms of those republics, which having been formed with the seeds of their own dissolution, now no longer exist. And we have viewed modern states all around Europe, but find none of their constitutions suitable to our own circumstances." Right? So a lot of, when they were writing the Constitution, they do look at the Native Americans in the Iroquois Confederacy as an example of how to govern the new Republic of the United States. Okay, we're going to take a look at how the Iroquois League, which is still in existence today, has a lacrosse team, and we're going to talk about how some of the struggles that they do face here in modern times.
The World Lacrosse Championships are currently underway in Britain, minus the North American team that is one of the best in the world. Their story is the focus of tonight's Weekend Journal. Age-old principles of pride and sovereignty colliding with modern-day security demands.
Aircraft 3, 1, 2, 3, aircraft!
They are the pride of a nation. 23 lacrosse players representing the Iroquois Confederacy, a council of 6 Native American tribes living in upstate New York and Canada, 125,000 people in all, who consider themselves a nation apart from the United States. With a host of former collegiate stars, including Syracuse's Sid Smith, the Iroquois Nationals are the number 4 ranked team in the world. They were supposed to be playing right now in the World Lacrosse Championships in Manchester, England, against 30 other countries, including the U.S., England, and Canada.
We're trying to stay positive, as we can, and just stay focused.
But last week, both the U.S. and the U.K. said they wouldn't honor these Iroquois-issued passports used by the tribe since the mid-1970s because they didn't meet new post-9/11 security standards.
We've been traveling on this for 30 years.
The State Department offered to expedite U.S. passports, but the team's executive director and players said no, calling it an affront to their national heritage.
It's a matter of national identity at this point. We are traveling as Iroquois nationals.
Hopes were temporarily raised when Secretary of State Hillary Clinton personally intervened on Thursday and issued a one-time travel waiver. But officials in Britain rejected the compromise, and the Nationals were left in limbo. The closest they got to real competition was this scrimmage on Long Island.
And we're just excited to be on the field finally.
All of it highlights a still simmering standoff between the United States and more than 500 native tribes over ID documents. Many have issued their own for decades that are no longer valid.
So this will be an ongoing discussion.
And right now, there's no end to it.
No, there is no end to it. So it will continue.
After forfeiting 2 games and getting turned down again today by the UK, the Nationals are officially heading home.
They believe that lacrosse is their game, they invented it, and it's their gift to the world.
Scott Price of Sports Illustrated says even though they didn't play, they still won.
Mission accomplished for the Iroquois in one sense. They wanted to show the world we're still here, and that was the point of the Iroquois Nationals in the first place.
The Iroquois Nationals are now heading home, but they hope to have their passport issues resolved in time for the World Indoor Lacrosse Championships in the Czech Republic next year.
Okay, so what you're going to take a look at, one of our assignments in this unit, is to look at Native American nations around the United States. And how are they, what laws do they have to abide by under the U.S. Constitution, or do they? Do they have certain laws? What is a Native American reservation? We're going to take a look at that stuff in this unit. It's going to be kind of interesting, maybe something you haven't seen before. And this would be the area map here of the Iroquois nation.